This week, Shimano have released an update to their E-Tube Project mobile application. Now, the E-Tube Project software allows you to connect, configure, and update your Shimano Di2 and Shimano Steps e-bike configurations. Previously, there were 3 versions of this. There was a smartphone version, a tablet version, and a Windows PC version. Now, the Windows PC version will be getting an update very shortly. We'll cover that when that is released. But today, I'm looking at the updates to the mobile version. It appears this week, with the new release of the mobile version of the E-Tube project, that the tablet version has been discontinued. A little disappointing because the tablet version did have some extended functionality for some diagnostics. Now, given you did need a working Di2 system with a battery, obviously, a Bluetooth module, and to be able to connect to that, so the diagnostics were quite limited, but seeing that disappear is a little disappointing, but it's back to the hardwired diagnostics if that's what you need to do. Okay, so onto what's new with the mobile app. So it's no longer a smartphone or a tablet app, it's just the mobile app, which works on both. In a number of regions, there's now Shimano ID, where you can log in, register an account, and register your bike and components with Shimano and set up bike profiles within this application. Now, unfortunately, this doesn't work here in Australia. There's only a select number of regions this does work with. I believe it's got to do with data privacy protection laws, maybe a phased rollout, but Australia isn't on the list. It's also not mandatory. If you just want to log in and use the app as a utility to connect to any system, you can still do that too, as long as you have the Bluetooth password. Next up, the visuals and layout of the E-Tube Project app are greatly improved. So there is pictures of components that it is detected once connected. The firmware update page has a lot more detail on firmware versions, the dates released, and if there is updates available. There's now animations for gear adjustment and synchro shifting. They are absolutely phenomenal. We'll show you those in a moment. So it's definitely a massive step forward in what was the previous version of this app. So they're the details of what's changed. Let's have a look at it in action in the Lama Garage. Okay, loading up the updated version of this app. First of all, we have to select the country and region that we're in. Being in Australia, it means I don't, at this point in time, have the opportunity to register for Shimano ID. So I agree to the terms and conditions, and it will drop me straight into the application to connect without logging in or having any bike profiles. From here, I'll need to put my Di2 system into Bluetooth management connection mode, which is press and hold, flashing lights, and away we go. Okay, passkey entered, and a few seconds later we will be connected to the system. Okay, here we go. An overview of the Di2 setup that I have on this bike. All the components, junction, wireless unit, battery, and the model numbers. We click OK. And again, from here, it drops us into the update, customize, or maintenance modes here. So you can see the shifting, synchro shift, multi-shift, switching options. If we scroll down, we have other, which is the wireless unit configuration, which is currently set to Ant Plus only for standard usage. Jumping over to update to have a look at all the firmware versions. Everything looks good, but I do know there's an update to the wireless module. And with this update to the wireless module, it allows connectivity to the E-Tube Ride application, which was limited to only e-bike connections in previous versions. With this firmware, my Di2 road bike will connect to that application. Okay, that was 4 minutes and 27 seconds sped up, and nothing went wrong. So we updated the Bluetooth module while connected to the Bluetooth module. Happy days on that one, very risky, but looks like they've sorted out all the issues with that. Over to the wireless unit, we'll click on that and have a look at the configuration. We can see there it's the name, it's in Ant Plus only mode. We can click on that and switch different modes. To connect to the Steps app, we will need to configure that for Bluetooth at some point in time. We won't be doing that right now. And everything else looks okay from there. We go back. Looking at the synchro shifting options here, we just confirm the chain rings and the rear cassette that's installed on the bike. And from here we can see Synchro 1, semi-synchro, and S2, full synchro. We can see that in table format or these super cool animations, which gives a visual representation of exactly what full synchro will do. So we watch that go, well, up the cassette they call that.
I'd call that down. And then when we click on down, you can see it go the other way. So you can see how full synchro works in both directions with the animation there. I think that's a great visual image of what synchro does and all the tech specs down below there. So we'll dig into that a little deeper another day. Over to the levers or the switching configuration. And from here, it's just a simple touch to configure anything on the screen there. So there's my overview of how I have things set up. Multi-shift, which is simply the press and hold multi-shift. And once we click OK on that one, it'll give us the ability to do multi-shift and the shift interval speeds and also the gear limit. So for mine, no limit will go all the way up or down the cassette with a single press and hold multi-shift. Under maintenance, we have the front and rear derailleur adjustments, which I won't be doing at this point in time, but just clicking through here to see what they're all about. Okay, we'll need the bike up on a stand or on a trailer to get that done properly. You can see here it asks us to put the chain in a certain cog, not something I'll be following through today.
So there we have it, the updated mobile version of the E-Tube Project software from Shimano. It's a much better user experience than the previous version of that. Once the new Windows version of this E-Tube Project software comes out, I'll be all over that and we'll cover it here on the channel. In the meantime, if you're after a web-based resource to dive into some Di2 documentation that's written in human readable form, bettershifting.com is a great resource. I'll put a link below to that. As always, thanks for watching, happy updating, and we'll see you next time.